if you're a moral subjectivist, you can't say that the Nazis and the Holocaust was really a bad thing. It's just that
You're
luckily the
right, by the way.
Americans won,
Yeah. I will
and
concede that, yeah. I will concede that I can't say objectively that the Holocaust was wrong. I can't. And I
right. And
understand
does
why
it make
that's
you uncomfortable at
it
least?
it, it it probably did at first. Obviously, like I think everyone when they come to these positions, it's very much like wow, like I actually can't make that argument. However,
If you actually believe that it's possible for a society to go wrong, only then can you actually do something about it. If you're convinced that they're objectively wrong. If you simply think like you claim that it's just a matter of preference, then why not just leave them alone? There's really no strong reason to drive you to make any change, I think.
so what was the example given? That was it that someone's doing something to themselves without harming you?
Um, so let's say some tribe that practices the initiation ritual of putting fire ants on your hands. Maybe you've seen these documentaries where it means only then it means you're a real man, basically, if you've endured this kind of pain. Um, so so yeah, of course they are not hurting us here in the West, but I think um, there are just better ways for becoming a man. I mean, if it's unnecessary pain in our world here, in where I and you live, then it's also unnecessary pain where they live. I mean, wouldn't you agree? And now maybe you think like that I'm about to go wherever they practice this and rob them of their culture. That's not what I'm about to do now. But I think just philosophically speaking now, if it unnecessary pain or is it not? And if you say it is unnecessary, then it might, given that we're all just people, we're made of the same brain matter, then I think you have to concede that it is also unnecessary that they are doing that, and that it's kind of, they would be living a better life if becoming a man would just be uh, would mean just becoming a hunter or whatever, and not just inflicting pain on your hands.
So this is kind of where I think there might be a dead maybe a dead end. We'll see. We'll see. So in the world where there's a tribe that does some kind of like pain ritual to make someone into a better person or a better man or whatever, um, I'm still not sure where calling what I call anti-realist moral perspective. In that, I think we actually come from the same position, which is interesting. Um, I think we both perceive preferences within the world. We see things that are we see things that are good for our health, let's say, and for some reason we value that, and we want to enforce it as maybe a cultural norm, or we want to encourage others to do the same, to better their health, to be good to other people, and so on. From my perspective, being good to other people, taking care of your life, is good only in such that it benefits what your preferences value. In that, like I said before, I don't want to be killed. So for me to enforce a social standard of not being killed um, is better for me. And if everyone agrees with that, it's going to be better for everyone else in a very non-moral way. When I say better, I just mean I like it more. It's like good, like I'm praising it. Um, and your position is very much like, okay, good for my health, good for my well-being. It makes me happier in the long term, not just in short-term gratification. Um, and therefore, that's why we should do it. However, I don't know, and this is the part where I just don't know how to get over this hill, where you get two people who are discussing the topic, and you say, well, why is this bad? And one person says, well, look, it's really bad for your health. Like, this is affecting you negatively. You're hurting yourself. You're hurting those around you. And then the other person can just say, what's wrong with hurting other people, or what's wrong with hurting yourself. Like, why is this bad objectively? Why is this bad? Because, and I really wanted to question you on this one thing, and you answered in a peculiar way. The question of, in a different society where they value different things, is their well-being different from ours? And you said no, which was super interesting to me, because it means that you believe that the well-being is outside of our collective norms and outside of what we value in today's society. And even in those other societies, we would kind of enforce the same objective well-being that we believe is in our society on their society, which is super interesting to me, because I really thought you would concede that the objectivism of our well-being depends on what we prefer and not something outside of that. So I'm not even sure where that comes from anymore, because
it does depend on what we prefer. However, it's not always so easy to find out uh, what you really prefer. Yeah, I mean, we're not transparent to ourselves. That's what I tried to illustrate with the ice cream example. So, and it's totally possible to just to want the wrong things. So that's what I meant. And it doesn't mean that everyone wants exactly the same things, but that there are some people who and some societies who just are just at a totally go down a totally wrong path, basically. So maybe you've encountered something like this on a personal level. Like maybe you thought becoming a doctor was going to be edifying and good for you and going to make you happy, and you started out learning a lot about anatomy, and then in your second semester or whatever, you had to suddenly do some practical work and cut open a dead person, and then you suddenly find out, okay, no, the path that I was going down was actually totally wrong. I don't want to have anything to do with this line of work. I'm more of a theoretical person, and so what you thought would be fulfilling, what you thought would be a good career, actually turned out to be nothing, not at all conducive to your well-being, and not at all in line what you actually value. And collectively, this applies as well. I mean, the German people in the 1930s thought that the best thing for their society would be to get rid of the Jews, and that is the way forward for society, and only then can we all live in peace. And obviously they were incredibly mistaken to believe that, and they actually committed the most horrible atrocity probably of history. So. And the sooner you find out that you're on the wrong path, the better. And I think that is one of the killer arguments, because it hits on an emotional level. If you're a moral subjectivist, you can't say that the Nazis and the Holocaust was really a bad thing. It's just that luckily the Americans won.
I will concede that, yeah. I will concede that I can't say objectively that the Holocaust was wrong. I can't. And
right. And does it make you uncomfortable, at least?
it probably did at first. Obviously, like I think everyone, when they come to these positions, it's very much like, wow, like I actually can't make that argument. However, I use bad, good, moral, immoral in a very casual sense, because I believe that everyone has some kind of feelings, understanding about what I'm saying. I think it, like, so you might ask, well, how can you say something's good? I've heard Mohammed Hijab say this to Alex O'Connor on one of his panel debates in Oxford, I think. And I think he basically said, well, how can you say that's good? You're a moral relativist. You can't say anything's good or bad. But on outside of fundamental philosophical discussions, I believe we can use words like good or bad or true, even, because that's another realm where that might be a more complicated discussion, like, well, what's true? But in everyday life, people say, this is true, this is false, this is good, this is bad. But if you were in a philosophical debate and you go to the absolute fundamentals, yeah, I will concede that. Well, when I say good, what I actually mean is, in a very collective way, we all kind of prefer these things, and I prefer these things, and I would prefer that you don't do this, and so on and so forth. So if someone was to question me on that, I would absolutely concede it. I wouldn't say that I can say for definite this is good or bad on a very fundamental level, but on everyday use, I would say good and bad casually. So yes, I can't say that, but I don't think that gets us any closer or further away from good society. I don't think for me to say on a very fundamental level the Holocaust was objectively immoral. I don't think that gets us any closer to the society we have today. Contrary to well, none of us want the Holocaust. None of us want it. It's something none of us want. We all look back and we look at it distastefully. We think that it should never happen again. We're going to put as many barriers in front of people to be able to do those things again, and we're going to punish people for trying or attempting to do it. I believe we can get to both those positions through both of our perspectives philosophically. And so maybe I should stop going on the practical argument, because this is the practical argument, in that I don't believe practically me and you are any better at the job of demanding moral like realism on the world, or morality on the world.